Coming to you from the Loading Ready Run orbiting underground moon base, it's the LRRcast. Hey everybody, it's the LRRcast. Time to cast some lure.
That's right. Where is a butt? It's in these seats. There's 4 of them. What a treat. LRRcast. Woo woo.
Yeah.
LRRcast.
7 whole butt cheeks between us.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what do you mean 7?
That was my 80s cartoon style, or I guess maybe like early
Who's
90s.
missing a butt cheek?
You'll have to guess.
Yeah.
So
Place your bets now.
Who is afflicted with the tragic condition of monobutt?
Butt rot.
It just looks like a little extra belly button right in the middle of a smooth,
Oh, that's
smooth
weird.
half sphere.
No, stop.
Oh, that's weird.
Stop.
You're
Stop.
right. It's like a poop cyclops.
This is the worst thing I've ever heard of. Hey everyone, Graham here, Alex is here also, Kathleen's here,
Poop clops.
and Paul's here.
Hello.
And we're going to answer some of your questions.
If one of the questions was who only has one butt, we won't answer that.
Yeah.
Or one butt cheek.
One butt cheek, yeah.
I've got half a butt.
You know it's not Alex. He had that hit song.
Yeah. Was there any sort of like ongoing news we had to talk about? I can't remember.
Or anything about...
Quick, brief Kickstarter update. I know that James has sent out a bunch of emails to various tiers for things like the Iron Stomach and stuff, and things that we're gonna be doing pretty soon.
Now that a certain major life event is
the
concluded.
physical rewards will be sending out next week. We're recording this on the... Is that accurate? The 18th? Mm-hmm. So they should start going out on the...
And?
19, 20, on Monday the 21st. And so they'll be out to you all pretty rapidly.
Excellent.
And after a long delay, Maki has finally finished all the backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah, so we can send you the... So that's almost all the digital rewards too.
Yeah, so that means we'll probably just set up a website where you can download the backgrounds of your choice. Like
And
we did
before
with
you
the
know it,
album.
we'll be pelted by tennis balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Ash will draw that tennis ball thing.
And then we're going to eat some repulsive stuff.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too. I feel bad. The reason we were held up on that is I bruise easily and my bruises last a long time. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not doing this before July.
Not going to walk down the aisle being like,
Also-
I fell.
Yeah.
We
Well,
didn't
clumsy.
actually...
Covered in bruises down my arms and legs.
we didn't actually check to see, how one would actually go about getting a tennis ball shooter before we put that in. And it turns
How
out to
hard
be...
can it be?
Yeah. It turns out...
That's what we said.
As we've talked about
yeah.
many times, it turns out to be harder than we
Yeah,
thought
we
it would
might
be.
end up having to go to Vancouver for this, apparently.
We got the balls though.
We
Yeah.
have the balls.
Boy, do we have the balls.
First step, anyway.
First step, get some balls.
We'll just dump them from like an airplane.
Step
That'd be
2,
great.
question mark. Step 3, no.
All right.
It's 4.
So, your questions, as asked on Twitter earlier today. Alex asks...
Wait, what?
different Alex.
Alex asks,
Why do I have to... How do I get out of this chicken shit outfit?
What is the game you haven't played on stream but really want to?
Well, I've been gearing up to play Call of Pripyat, but that's sort of hinging on me getting the perfect melding of mods to make it just scintillating and oscillating.
I want to play Escape Velocity, but there's only one version that works on Windows, and I don't know if it works on Windows 8 yet, so I downloaded the demo last night, and we'll see.
There's some games I want to play. What do I want to play?
Are they JRPGs?
The thing is, I've played almost all the games I want to play this year just by playing them on my stream because I usually don't have time for video games. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about JRPGs and stuff like that, but I think I'd actually like to just play like, it's not out yet, but I'd like to play like Yoshi's Woolly World or something.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
maybe
Ooh,
play Kirby's
yeah.
Epic Yarn. It's not
Yeah.
a hard game, but it's so cute. Although I need a friend.
Oh no, where will you find one of them?
I don't know.
Impossible.
Nobody likes me. I have no friends, so that could be hard.
I'm excited. I really want to play the re-release of Grim Fandango.
Oh, actually,
because that was one of my favorite adventure games. And when I saw they were doing a re-release, that I was super excited. So
Yeah.
hopefully that'll actually come out in reasonable time.
In high def.
and I can play that on the stream.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the perfect. I like playing adventure games that I've previously played, but a long time ago, because if you get just the right distance away from last time you played it, you kind of act as your own strategy guide. You're like, I know there's something I'm supposed to do with this thing. So you're like halfway there, but you don't actually remember exactly how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
So you're still trying to figure it out as you go along.
You're not just like, oh, this and this and this and this and this. You're just sort of like, oh, wait.
There's something about this thing.
This is important.
Yeah.
Speaking of re-releases, I heard that Last of Us is getting a makeover,
Yeah, they
and I haven't
It's
played
getting a
it yet.
PS4 makeover. Yeah.
So
they redid it for PS4. Yeah, you should play it. It's
You'd
very
like
it's
it.
very good.
It's
That's what I hear.
terrifying.
I've heard it's real good.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Chris asks, boy, this is a far-reaching question. If you could go back in time and change one thing that happened in your life, what would it be and why?
I don't know, man. Like, the weird thing is that just like here now doing stuff, and it's like if you screwed something up, that would be like, oh, if only I had done this. But it's like you go on a completely different branch. You could end up somewhere else.
Yeah, I
like,
feel
like
like
in a
I-
ditch.
Like, I feel like I had a terrible childhood, but I feel that all those experiences sort of like gave me an iron will and a take no prisoners attitude. So I don't think I'd necessarily change that. I think what I'd do is I'd go back and give myself a mix CD of bands that were going to get popular later, so I could see them in concert before they got cool. I think that'd be the ideal, like, wouldn't change anything, but it would make my life slightly better.
I mean, it's like, like, oh, go back to 1992 and invest in Apple. Like,
Boring.
right? I don't know.
I feel like
I'm
I
pretty all right with how things are.
I wouldn't want to dick with my timeline too much.
Maybe just like something really innocuous, like leave yourself a mystery, like tattoo yourself in your sleep with like some sort of weird phrase, and you just be like,
No, that would make me crazy.
you're just like crazy by the time you get back to the present.
John G. murdered your wife.
Sorry,
What?
what? Don't believe.
I don't know anyone
Don't
named John
believe
G.
your lies.
And I don't have a wife. What's going on?
Yeah. Saweeks asks, how big, file size wise, is the typical completed video?
Oh wow! I know this.
Like the output? It's like 1.5 gigs around there.
That's the
Like the full res.
that's
output.
like the
one
like,
that goes on the DVD.
archival.
Yeah, the one that goes up on the YouTubes is like a couple hundred megs because it's
Yeah.
720p. The like source footage can be anywhere from like 5 to 18 gigs depending on how much shooting there is.
For a feed dump, the high res version is a gig, approximately 900 to a gig, and then the escapist one is really small. It's like somewhere between 60 and 90 megs.
Yeah.
Also, just
Obviously,
like
for like Commodore Hustle or Friday Nights or something that's a little longer, it
Yeah.
ends up being bigger. But
also we have a fairly low shooting ratio because it's all scripted stuff. So it's like before we do the finished video, the footage that is shot is not a lot more than what we use.
No, we're super efficient, right?
John asks, how much more success or popularity could you handle before it becomes too much?
Bring it on.
yeah,
Well, I think
I feel like that's an experiment I'd be willing to undertake.
as long as it doesn't take that much more like output. Like we put out a ton of stuff, and we could easily have more people watching the existing stuff that we do.
Yeah.
Without any problem. So
I think
tell
it's,
your friends.
I guess it's more like the other trappings of celebrity.
It'd be
right?
nice that we could have a dedicated business manager.
But like a
Like if we could afford to pay one of those.
would you like how famous would you want to be?
It's like, would you want paparazzi hounding you? Would you want people like trying to shoehorn themselves into your social circle?
No, not really. I like that I can still respond to everybody on Twitter who talks to me if I choose to. But I can see that could go up much higher than it is now, and I could probably still keep up with it.
Let me see. I feel that if the paparazzi started hounding me for some awful, ridiculous reason, I feel that I would be able to have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, you'd wear a bag that says like "fuck you" on it.
Only if I was feeling particularly uninspired.
Jaunty.
There's so many different things I could do.
Oh yeah.
I do love to troll.
I feel like the paparazzi would have a very, very hard time with you.
D. Jordan asks, how do you feel about all the comic book TV shows that are about to be released? Specifically, because he's got a bunch of hashtags in here. So there's Arrow, which already exists, and there's Flash is forthcoming.
Is it by the same?
I think
people?
so, yeah. There's a TV series of Constantine, coming, and there's also Gotham, which is the pre-Batman, like, weird origins of Gotham City.
It's like, well,
thing.
Batman's a kid, and it's actually the origins of Commissioner Gordon. I
Yeah,
think.
so it's like late 20s, 30-year-old Commissioner Gordon.
Gordon Begins.
And like all the villains are there. So like Selena Kyle is like the same age as Bruce, maybe a little older, but like the Penguin is like an adult, but he's not like the Penguin yet. He's just the guy.
Dude.
Yeah, and
Just this guy.
I don't really know how much sort of legs that show has, but I'd be interested to see it.
It
could,
seems like it's going to be a procedural of the week, honestly.
yeah, like that. The thing about Gotham is like it's a neat concept, absolutely a neat concept, and it could be really cool, and it could be awful.
Well, it's all of these shows will basically be Monster of the Week / procedural type shows.
Yeah,
It's the kind of shows that we've had for years, but it's just instead of whatever in a hospital or a guy who can read minds or something, it's Marvel superheroes or DC superheroes, and I'm totally fine with that. Like, but I feel like they have an equal chance of being good or bad to any other show. Like the being based in superhero stuff doesn't have any doesn't really push it one way or another, whether it's going to be good or bad. It might encourage me to keep watching it a little longer, but I'm fully in favor of it. I think it'll be cool. I haven't really watched Arrow. I heard it's
Okay.
I heard it like started off really bad, but has actually gotten a little bit better.
I've heard that. Yeah,
But I really liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So
I don't watch enough TV to give, like, I don't care.
I don't watch
Sorry.
TV at all.
should watch Game of Thrones. It's good.
it is.
That's what everybody tells me.
Rick asks, current obsessions?
Current obsessions.
What am I obsessed with right now?
Obsessions.
See, like, I sort of cycle through things like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll get, like, really fixed on something. Like, I'll get way...
What are you really into right now, Alex?
I think I might be between obsessions.
Oh my God.
Actually, like looking for obsession.
What about that
Like-
super nerdy game you were just showing me?
Oh no! I hope it's not that. That would be awkward.
It's actually the nerdiest game I've ever seen.
Oh my God!
Can
It's like somebody was like, this Alex guy. Let's make a game for him. It's called World of Guns, and it's free to play. And like my wallet is vibrating. I'm like, oh no, please no.
You just field strip guns.
You just field strip
Really? That's it?
3D guns,
Yeah.
put them back together again, and then like shoot
like
them on a firing
every
range.
bolt, every screw, every
Oh.
spring.
Yeah, you actually
Wow.
like you do the field strip, and then you do the gunsmith. Like every part comes apart, and then there's a game where you are timed on the disassembly and reassembly, and then there's a hardcore game where during the disassembly, if you click on the wrong part, you lose immediately.
The gun explodes.
Yeah, no. So you have to like
And you can also watch them fire in slow motion with 4 different levels of X-ray, so you can
like,
see different
and like
parts
4
working.
different levels of slow mo, and
I want to see that,
Oh,
but
that
like
does seem
cut
like it's
away.
laser focused for you,
it's
Alex.
so dumb.
I want to see that actually in like a first-person shooter, where then if you put it together wrong, you'd be like, "Beh, oh, that's a shame."
Maybe when they do Receiver 2, it'll be like that. Like you actually have to
Right.
assemble it.
I don't know. Usually, any obsessions I have are just a band that I want to go and listen to more of. This is really dumb. Cocteau Twins just had a couple of their albums reissued, so I've been listening to them. As they were super cool in sort of the early to mid 80s, I was not around for that era of music, so I never really listened to them before. I think I had gotten them mixed up with Thompson Twins, which is, of course, Hold Me Now. Na, 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 na. It's just like a perfect... I tweeted the link to the video a while ago. It's a perfect artifact of the 80s, and that was cool. That was like the peak of fashion. Go look at that video on YouTube. It's amazing. Cocteau Twins are very different. They're more like a shoegazy, like My Bloody Valentine thing. So I've been listening to Heaven or Las Vegas. I think I've listened to that album like 4 times in the past week. It's not very long. It's only like 40 minutes long. But they're really good. I'll probably find a different band to nerd out about next week. That's usually what I'm obsessing over is music. Oh, wait. That's not true.
Oh,
The Radiolab podcast. I've been going back and listening to a lot of Radiolab because they're really good. It's a NPR podcast done out of New York. They literally do different things every week. I don't know how often it comes out because I'm just going through the archives, but like examples of podcasts that I've listened to and enjoyed are something about the skull and how we evolved from proto-humans. how the kilogram came about, like the story behind the invention of standard metric measures.
Yeah.
And then what happened when people realized that the kilogram was losing weight. Yeah. Which is really fun.
I love
and,
the standard kilogram.
The quest to develop a new equivalency for the kilogram using like physics and the forces of magnetism. It's really hard to explain. Let's see, a really interesting interview and sort of feature on the morning DJ host of Hot 95, I think it is.
And 97.
Hot 97, the all hip-hop, super influential hip-hop radio channel in New York, and this host's beef with Nicki Minaj. Like very, very, very interesting. So if you like learning things, now I have a low barrier of entertainment though. Like I can be entertained very easily.
The reason that for me, the reason that I want to play Escape Velocity online is because I have an absolute slavering need for more information about No Man's Sky. And I was watching the GameSpot UK did a feature, like a several part video feature on No Man's Sky, and I was like, oh my god, I want this game. Oh my god, I just realized what this game reminds me of, Escape Velocity. Oh my god, I need to go start playing Escape Velocity again.
So you're starting with Methadone.
I'm so excited.
Looks sweet.
Paul, what are you obsessed over?
I don't know. I just beat Assassin's Creed 4, which I've been playing for a really long time.
So you're obsessed on
I mean, it was sort of
taking
like,
over other ships,
yeah, like I guess. I mean, for a
just
while,
like Escape Velocity.
for a while playing Assassin's Creed 4, I was obsessed with the there's like the Kenway's Fleet. That's like a mini game within Assassin's Creed 4, where you like send your ships off to do stuff. But the trick is that you can also play it on your iPad or your iPhone or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
and it actually ties into your account. And so I played that game so much that my guy in Assassin's Creed, I have so much money that like since very early in the game, I have never had to have like I have like $400,000 and the most expensive thing you can buy is like $50,000. And so I've just been like, oh, I guess I played that game more than I was supposed to. But yeah, I just beat Assassin's Creed 4, which has a little bit of a I don't know, I wouldn't say disappointing ending, but a little bit of a, it's a little bit like the very first Assassin's Creed game in that it's like the beginning of something else, like they're starting a new thing, right? And so it's like it ends with like, oh, there might be something going on, and then it ends, and you're like, but I know that I played the other Assassin's Creed games. I kind of know what's
I've been here the whole time, you guys.
All right, fine.
All right. Justin asks, "What's up, guys? How's life?" It's pretty good, Justin. Thank you.
Good, good.
Whatevs, you know, keeping it real.
David asks, "Is it weird meeting people who already know so much about you?"
A little.
And David continues, I always feel awkward because it almost feels stalkerish. Well, it's not stalkerish since we're telling you about this stuff. I guess it's a little weird. Don't feel uncomfortable. Please do say hi.
Yeah.
But, you know, like when I'm introducing myself to someone and I'm like, you know, they're like, "Hi, I'm David." And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Hi, I'm Graham." And they go, "Yeah, I know." And I'm like,
it's,
well, I guess you do. I guess you do know. Yeah.
But
all
I
right.
am going through the motions.
yeah.
Yes, please go through the motions.
Yeah,
Just like
how it
actually
works.
introduce yourself.
Yeah, let's keep like how it works. It's cool that, you know, obviously we tell you lots of stuff about us and you know stuff from the podcasts and from Twitter and all that kind of stuff. But if we meet in person, pretend that you don't know that stuff. Don't be like, "Oh, how is that thing that you were just talking about going?"
Yeah.
Or at least
No,
like
no,
telegraph
that's
that you know that information. It's
Well,
just like, I know you from
Oh,
the
sorry,
internet.
sorry. Yeah, that's it. I don't mind if someone's like, if someone asks me about a thing that I was talking about on Twitter because it's public. That's why I put it out there because I want you to see it.
Yeah.
But maybe preface with, I saw on Twitter that you said rather than just
pick up in the middle of the conversation. Like, what are you talking?
Did that thing with the cat work out? And I'm like,
sorry, what?
Huh?
Yeah.
What? Huh? The thing with the cat that you said on Twitter a week and a half ago. Like, oh, that, yes, it's fine.
Yes, yeah. It's awkward to do the social interaction, the two-person social dance by yourself.
Pretty much.
Because somebody's already finished and is standing over the other side of the dance floor for you. So just humor us.
But don't feel awkward. I know it's weird, but please.
But
do
yeah,
say hi.
I mean, it is socially, it is a little bit of an odd situation. That's just how it is.
Yes.
So, but
I like-
there's no reason.
But
to
we
be,
do like when Senpai notices
At the
us.
end, at the end of one of the limited resources podcasts, Brian did a rundown for how to approach Marshall if you see him at a GP.
Right.
And it was this list of ridiculous rules, my favorite of which was only approach Marshall from a 45-degree angle.
It was basically as if he was like a lion. Or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
exactly. Calvin asks, will we ever see a live-streamed Iron Stomach challenge? I'm going to say no. I don't want to rule anything out, but I'm going to say no.
Well, it's
I feel
I
like-
feel like it'll be funnier in editing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There tends to be a lot of, getting stuff figured out with the Iron Stuff.
We did that at Desert Bus once. And we
Yeah.
drink like a Denny's Grand Slam smoothie.
Oh no! Why would you remind me of that flavor?
That was thick.
It was the most miserable thing. Oh,
It was pretty
just
bad.
Ew.
The orange juice.
Cadence asks, can you guys specifically,
Hi, what?
you, Kathleen and Alex, can you guys play the Outlast DLC on the Let's Nope?
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. Penises everywhere.
I'm
There's
actually.
like dong abuse in that game.
I like.
Oh
What do you? Why are you saying? Oh no!
You don't have one.
no! Well, I know what a
Sympathy?
dong represents.
Do you?
Yeah. A cigar.
I like how, how
Sometimes a
readily
cigar is
you-
just a cigar.
how readily you agreed to doing Let's Nope stuff. I feel like maybe you've forgotten
Oh, I absolutely have. In retrospect, it doesn't seem that bad.
that you were actually
Maximum
like hiding under the table.
Yeah, I don't like being scared.
Well, it's probably a lot shorter if that's any consolation.
The original game wasn't even that long.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned on Twitter earlier today, this seems like it's not a question for the LRRcast, but I mentioned on Twitter that we're restocking the Phases t-shirts, and the Diagram playmats will be coming back in stock. I don't know when they're going to be in stock, but we have ordered more Diagram playmats and a restock of the Phases t-shirts, and someone asked, will you be adding the cleanup step to satisfy the great masses of rule snobs? No.
No.
That's the same reason that's the same reason that technically untap, upkeep, and draw are all steps in the beginning phase, and then the combat phase has beginning of combat, declaring attackers, declaring blockers, first strike
Yeah,
damage,
it's-
and normal damage.
It would
and then
ruin the joke.
Others, yeah, it would. It's
I,
not,
It's
I feel like
unnecessary.
we've hit the phases that are actually
Relevant.
significant.
Also,
Yeah.
that we added the last last three phases, tilt and flip and scoop on the button.
exactly. Yes.
So there you go.
Erica asks, any plans to make it to PAX South? I believe it is currently on our list of things we are hoping to do.
Your socket.
So
That's in Texas, isn't it?
it is in Texas. It is in
Texas.
Austin.
Austin.
Is it in Austin?
It's in.
Isn't it San-
it's in
San
Sorry,
Antonio?
San Antonio. Pardon me.
I was gonna say I'm the only person here who's been to Texas.
I
out
heard
of this
they have
group.
good barbecue
I've
there.
been to Texas.
I've heard that. Yes,
Oh,
that's
of
right.
course
Paul.
you have.
Yes, Paul's been to Texas.
Not in any large capacity, but I have been there. It was warm.
Dave Smith asks, Hodor,
I've been in, like, the
Hodor,
spring.
Hodor.
Hodor.
Oh wait, no, I've been in like February because I went for Quiz Bowl. Oh, how good would it be if Quiz Bowl corresponded with PAX South so I could do both on the same trip?
Well, let's find out when PAX South is.
It's like early January. But I don't know where Quiz Bowl is usually like February though, although it was or March. And Texas is not that warm at that time of year. I tell you what, we went there and like the first night we went out and it was freezing rain, and it was awful, and we were cold, and it was like raining ice on the roads, and it was really slippery, and we're like, we need to get back to our Airbnb.
January 23rd to 25th. So
All right.
the end of January.
All right, when's Quiz Bowl? Geek Bowl.
Geek Bowl 2015.
Geek Bowl 2015. It's in. Sadly, it's in Albuquerque this year. Now, no offense to Albuquerque, but it's a lot more expensive to get to Albuquerque than it is to get to Austin because it's like less direct, like less flights leaving from Vancouver and stuff.
Oh, this is that's information on the previous Geek Bowl. I don't know. I don't think they have it yet.
Come on.
All right. Truvain asks, on expectations, what game has given you the greatest disappointment? and what game has pleasantly surprised you the most? Disappointment based on expectations.
Should I just go ahead and say Thief?
All right, fair enough.
Uh,
Alex really doesn't like these.
GTA 4 was disappointing.
Yeah, it was. It looked amazing, and then I was like, "Oh, it's not.
Not fun.
It was so serious and so like real life sim, and not enough fun stuff."
not the latest, but the Splinter Cell Double Agent.
No.
The one. It was not the most recent. It was like the last one where it was in like the old style, like before you could do like the mark and kill thing.
Because that one was sweet.
Yeah, like when they switched to the new style, it was kind of interesting. But the last one before they switched to that new style was very. Was it Blacklist? I don't know. Anyway,
No, Blacklist was the one with the.
Anyway,
I can't remember.
but
now.
I found that one very. I didn't even get all the way through it actually, which is I like really love the Splinter Cell games normally, but I just found it very annoying.
I also tried playing Mercenary Kings, which is the that game that what the hell's his name? He did Pirate Cabana.
Right.
Oh, Pirate Baby Cabana
Yeah,
Battle.
the animator from that worked on a game, and it looks great and plays like poo.
Oh, that's a shame.
Like, just the gameplay is not the sort of like.
To be fair, Pirate Baby Cabana
Street
Pirate
Battle.
Warrior or whatever it is looks like it would be a crazy game to play.
Yeah, and that's what I was expecting, and that is exactly what I
mean,
didn't
like,
get.
Yeah, not actually, not necessarily good, just weird.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
Sorry,
so
Paul, you talk too loud, and the way that I'm angled is that I'm getting like you right in my ear, so I'm moving back.
doesn't talk too loud.
Okay, well it's right in my ear,
Okay.
so it's too loud for me.
Okay. Blacklist.
It's not that you smell.
Blacklist is the most recent one with younger Sam Fisher. Conviction is the one that I really liked from 2010.
Right, that's
and then Double Agent was the one before.
Okay,
that.
yeah, Double Agent. Yeah, because you're like switching between the good side and the bad side, but it doesn't actually make any difference. It's really dumb.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah, that was good. I was gonna say that was bad. Dragon Quest 9, I hated a lot. And everybody's like, "Oh, you love Dragon Quest, Kathleen." I'm like, "Oh, I love bare ass quests. Why would you tell me to play this game?"
Well, you enjoyed it up to a point. It was like,
well,
oh, this is nice. This is fun.
I enjoyed it
the
until I
same
realized
shit.
it literally was just bare ass quests.
Yeah.
I was like, so when does the plot start?
like,
And then I got to a whole
there's-
new continent. I was like, yes, okay, I've done like the sort of, like when you're going at the beginning of Chrono Trigger and you're running around and you're not really, I got to the second area of the game and I was like, all right, now we're gonna get into the the Chrono Trigger turn where like shit starts getting together and they're like, oh well, now we're in this area, so go bring us more bear butts. And I was like, I'm done.
I got two, and they both involve zombies. Resident Evil 6 was such a disappointment. Like Resident Evil 5 was a big sort of change in tone for the games, and whatever you feel about it, I enjoyed Resident Evil 5. It was different, obviously. It was not the same as previous Resident Evil games. It was much more of an action game than a survival horror creepy game or whatever, but it was fun. It was a good game. I enjoyed it anyway. Resident Evil 6 was just trash.
I was watching you play that. I was like, "What is this?"
It was so bad.
What
Similarly,
is this?
zombie related, Dead Island. Did not like Dead Island because it was, you're talking about how Dragon Quest was just go collect the bear asses. Dead Island was just mini quest the game. Like the first, literally the first main plot quest you get is called Killing Time. And the objectives in it are 3 sub-objectives for other people.
What the fuck?
And you do a bunch of mini objectives for people, and then you move to a different quest hub, and you get a bunch of little other objectives. And it's all of them is just like run to a place and do a thing, and go to there and kill a guy, and go to there.
I think you got to the third area of the game and you're like, I'm done.
I got to chapter 2, and I got to I actually did like a quest mission where we like built like a car that was like reinforced to fight the zombies, and then we drove through this tunnel, and then the truck crashed, and it's like, now you're at a new quest hub, Act 2, and it's like, oh, you know what?
Yeah,
No, this is dumb. I don't feel like I'm doing anything.
I don't mind a little bit of Ramirezing in a game, but when it's like that's the only thing that's happening, it's just
Also,
like
I just have to say the lady screams, for like the male zombie screams were the bleh. Okay, fine. The woman, the female zombie screams were just, I am beating a live woman. And it just, I was like, Graham, you have to turn this game off. It was starting to like really tilt me out.
Weird sound design.
What
pretty
about
upsetting.
there was also good surprises.
right.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Or what games were you pleasantly surprised by?
I got a couple.
Yeah, what's up?
I had no expectations going into Teslagrad, and I was like, "This game's flippin' sweet." Mm-hmm. Like I'd never heard of it before. I was just like, oh, this looks neat. It was one of those examples where I saw the trailer. I was like, I'll try this.
To be fair,
And I loved it.
I personally know nothing about the game Teslagrad.
Mm-hmm.
If I heard the name Teslagrad, I would be like, that's probably something that Alex would look at. Lightning,
turns out it did.
Stalingrad. Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like he would probably be in that.
And also, despite me tilting a lot near the end of Lifeless Planet, I really actually liked that game. Like, I was going back through the footage, and I was like, if I hadn't marathon this game, I would have like had a fucking spectacular time. And I thought it was a really good game, and like a surprising like little gem out of like a 1 or 2 guy studio. I think that game's really good.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun.
I bet I can name 2 other games that you liked more than that you thought you would like, but that you liked more than you thought you would.
Oh,
and
yeah?
they both involve vehicles.
Oh,
Railfan and spin tires. Like, I know that you're like, oh, spin tires. Oh,
That's
this will
gonna
be
be cool.
funny.
I was
And then
like,
you're like,
uh-oh.
this is really good.
yeah. That game has sold crazy well.
That's
apparently,
awesome.
which I really love. And I was
love
like, I
that.
hope that it paves the way for more like cool sim games like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, you know what? I actually like this. I like playing a game where like you don't have to worry about somebody like attacking you the whole time. It's like, don't get me wrong, I love action games, love shooters, all that stuff, but it's just like it gets exhausting when that's the only way you get to interact with your environment. And this is just like, cool, this is different and neat and fun and interesting. And it's also, what's remarkable about that game is like what a game looks like when all of the resources go towards the simulation and aren't spent on AI or combat or like XP trees or like any of that other stuff. And it just like all goes into making it look like real. And you've got the terrain deformation and like the vehicle physics and all that stuff. It's just, oh. I know I'm a total anorak for liking that game, but I don't give a fuck.
Similarly, I did not I thought Goat Simulator.
I was just about to say Goat Simulator.
Yeah.
Because I thought, okay, this is a funny gimmick, but the game is awesome.
It's actually a lot of fun, and they clearly put a lot of work into it. Like, I know that they made a big point about how they were like, we're not fixing any bug if the bug is like funny, so whatever, you know. And it started as a joke, but it turns out the game's actually really well made.
You know what that game is exactly like?
What?
It's like Jackass.
Yes.
Because, like, there's tons of imitators, you know,
Yeah.
where it's just like, ha, we're going to do a stupid pratfall and, like, you know, have glitchy bullshit. And it's like, okay. But there's something about the presentation that really makes
That's
it.
always what elevated Jackass above just
like-
dumb people with a camera.
Well, exactly. Like, and that's why, you know, it's like, love it or hate it. You know,
Yeah.
they do the stupid, like, hurting each other, you know, pratfall, pranking stuff.
Better than anybody.
But the production they put into it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, it's not just like we're going to push this guy in a ditch. It's like he's going to be wearing a stupid costume and the ditch is going to be, I don't know, shaped like a butt or something.
Yeah, like I feel that Goat Simulators by the premise, because I thought it would be like, all right, you're running around and just gonna glitch stuff out and try to wreck shit. It's a surprisingly deep game. There's a lot of shit you can do.
So there's a lot to do. There's collectibles. There's objectives.
Well, and the thing is, there's
It also
like,
plays fun.
like the only way to get all the collectibles is to like really like explore the different types of goat you can get and like really and like come out with like wacky things, and like the fact that you could get a giant goat and then put it in the science hole and make the giant goat was pretty amazing.
That was a fun time. Oh man, I don't know, Paul or Kathleen, if you have any.
I don't have enough time to play games where I'm like, will this be good? Will this be bad? Who knows? Because like my game time budget is very low.
I know one for you.
What's that?
The jelly touching.
Oh yeah, my friend AJ. Maybe I won't go into the details of the story. But my friend AJ was like, "You should play this game called Jelly Splash, Kathleen." And I was just like, "Really?" But it's the stupid it's made by Wooga. It's like a iPad and a Facebook game, and you drag your fingers along the jellies, and they make this little
Wait, get close to the mic for that.
you drag your fingers along, and when you pop them, they go. And it's really soothing. I'm just like, oh, jelly touching. I haven't spent any money on the game.
It's just like a match colors game, right?
That's really
it's a
funny.
stupid game, but it's just like the jellies are so happy. They're like, come touch us, and I'm like, I don't
What's so? What's the like? Is it just a thing like a little toy that you mess around with, or is there actually
no,
like
it's
a game?
it's a puzzle game where you have to like free jellies by making so many color matches around
Oh,
them and
okay.
stuff. And it starts to get like a lot harder around like a level 100, and they're like, "Hey, buy some shit." And I'm like, "No, I just want to touch the jellies. Touch
I
them.
want jelly free touch
Nobody
mode.
send me jelly splash requests because I will not respond to them."
I was, I don't know. I mean, this is a while ago, and I'm sure I've talked about it on podcasts and stuff, but I was pleasantly surprised by, like, Darksiders.
Yeah,
It was one of those games which
I
was
heard
like,
that game's good.
like I played it.
It looks so dumb, and it's
quite
actually
closely
it's actually good.
after playing like Dante's Inferno.
Oh,
And
Oh,
it's-
that game.
And it's basically the same base game as Dante's Inferno, right? It's just like it's in God of War or whatever, right? Like it's just a third person action game, but it's just really fun, and they really spent a lot of time working the combat system and making it all nice and tight, and then it's got all these like random little gameplay elements that seem to be sort of borrowed from different games. And it's like, it's the joke with Darksiders is always like, if you told somebody, it's like, yeah, it copies from a bunch of games, but if you told somebody it's basically like God of War combined with a bunch of stuff from
Like Zelda?
Legend of Zelda, and then like some Portal stuff in there too, you'd be like, that sounds like a really good game. I would play that
I want to play that game. It's like,
and that's
oh, all
basically
right.
what it is. And it is highly enjoyable. And the second one was also good. And it makes me sad that it seems unlikely that there will be a third one.
No, didn't somebody pick up the IP? All right, I'm sorry. Didn't somebody pick up the IP for it?
Yes.
No.
No? Yes? No, someone
in the
did.
second round. People were disappointed
Yeah.
they didn't get bought in the first round.
Surprise.
Well,
too.
it got picked up. It's got picked up by somebody.
I'm finding it.
But
Hang on.
anyway,
Wikipedia.
it got picked up by somebody, and it gives the impression that they may not be doing anything with it, at least not right away. It's, if anything does come out of it, it's going to be a couple of years before it actually comes to fruition,
Oh, actually, I can think of a game that.
which is a shame because there's like they need to do 2 more games to do the other 2 the other 2 Riders of the Apocalypse, so that they could, and then they could do like a 5th game,
Right,
where they
Nordic.
combine it all together.
Nordic.
Nordic Games bought the Darksiders IP.
But like all the people who worked on Darksiders
Yeah.
are not there. Are
The new
when
owner of the
worked for-
Darksiders IP is keen to speak with the series creator about making Darksiders 3.
But all the people who did Darksiders 1 and 2 are now working for like Crytek US and stuff. So it'll probably be a different kind of game, or not different kind of game, but it'll be a different game. So anyway,
Didn't you really like Condemned, like surprisingly a lot?
Oh, like
No.
way back in the day?
No. No, I'm thinking of fucking steampunk whale game. What is that?
What?
Dishonored.
Oh, Dishonored?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That
Dishonored
game's
was
crazy
sweet.
good.
It was good, but I kind of knew it would be good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about knew it would be good, but like it looked like
I wasn't surprised.
it looked like it would be like Deus Ex, but steampunky and awesome.
I always take well-hyped games with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it lived up to its hype,
Yeah.
which is in itself slightly surprising.
We'll say that.
But it wasn't like this game is probably going to be lame, and then you play it and it's like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah. Whoop.
Yeah,
Careful.
I'm super excited for Dishonored 2 whenever that happens.
Don't rush it. Just make it good.
Yes.
What's your favorite time of day? Yes. Next question from Lying in Bedmon.
My favorite time of day is either very, 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 very early, and I'm very rarely awake for this. Like, I'm talking like 6:30 in the morning, but if I ever have occasion to walk around at 6:30 in the morning, it's always lovely.
I actually agree with you. I hate getting up for it, but I love super early when there's no... I like the times of day when there's no other people.
I also really, really
I was gonna say because I was gonna
Unfortunately,
say late at night when there's no fucking people around.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of the finest things that you can do for your soul, I think, in the summertime is go out for a walk at like 2:30 in the morning. The night walk, really nice.
I love night walks.
Because it's like usually there's no wind in
warm
Victoria.
and
It's
quiet.
warm and quiet, and it's just nice. We should go for more night walks. But the problem is at 2:30 in the morning, I don't want to leave my house
Yeah.
because I'm tired.
Sigh.
Claudio. Oh, sorry.
Huh? No, I said sigh.
Claudio asks, any chance of those games we've played returning as a long-form discussion of the things you guys have been streaming? So, originally when we were going to do the streaming, This is an interesting question because we sort of figured, well, we don't need to do a whole podcast talking about the games we've been playing because you could just come and watch us play the games. It's now apparent that there's no sort of opportunity in there to actually like have like a discussion about the games. Like you can see us playing them and we can tell you what we're thinking at the moment, but there's no sort of reflection and there's no like interpersonal discussion about it. I think if we did do anything like that, like, so it's a neat idea. Not right now. We don't have time right now. If we did do something like that, we'd probably just do it as an additional stream, like some sort of stream discussion.
Like we sometimes
show.
talk about, like when we're done a game on GPLP, we'll usually talk about it a little bit and stuff. But yeah, I can see there's some sort of benefit to that.
Toothpaste Laser asks, this is an interesting...
That's a good username.
This is a broad question. Is criticism an art form? If so, is it a parasitic art form? If it's not, is it just parasitic?
Well,
What?
the New York Times book critic Michiko what's her last name? She's Japanese. I'm trying to remember if it's Kukutani or Kukatani. Anyhow, the New York Times book critic has won a Pulitzer for criticism. So I would argue that at least by award standards that
I'm trying to look it up.
But like,
I think
give me your phone. I can look her up.
I think criticism can definitely be an art form, and I don't think. I mean, I guess it's parasitic in the sense that you need something to criticize.
But
So
that- but-
parasitic in the non-judgmental.
Michiko,
I was gonna say, it's
Michiko
just like-
Kakutani.
yeah, like parasitic really implies a lot of negative connotations.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, but like in Magic.
I would say it's symbiotic.
Yeah, that's a way better way of doing
in
it.
Magic. Mark Rosewater talks about parasitic mechanics, right, which are mechanics that only work within the set that they're in.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think, like, if you use the term parasitic and not in a negative way, just as something that it requires this other thing in order to live.
I would
The thing is,
say that like shitty criticism and like useless criticism could be parasitic.
Okay,
but
here's the deal with criticism. Like, okay, criticism, like, obviously, like, people are like, oh, if you can't do, you critique. Like, obviously, I think a lot about music, and I write sort of year-end music things, and I don't talk about albums I think are bad, because I think there's enough negativity around music. And I think that people have the idea that music critics are negative people and jerks and, like, snobs anyhow. But at the same time, like, criticism doesn't necessarily have to be critiquing. It can just be like, this is the reason why this album is good, and this is why it's interesting. And the thing is, there is enough volume of creative work out there that it would be very hard for me to parse all of the music that is released and has been released. But if I have a critic, like a music, somebody puts out a podcast and they're like, I am a music critic and here's some music that I think is really excellent this week. They're filtering that for me. So I feel that criticism, or just evaluation perhaps, is symbiotic with the medium, because it helps people understand who don't make that music. It helps them understand the context it's being made in and why that music might be good, that they may not pick out, immediately because they are not musicians, right? And it helps expose people to it, right? So I feel that it's not a parasitic.
Good
criticism helps the things that are being critiqued.
I think there is. It's important to make the distinction between criticism.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
and
going to say.
being critical, but like criticism is actually the term. It's kind of a weird term because the actual like the art or the practice of criticism is just basically discussing an art form, right? So it can be, you can have positive criticism or negative criticism or all this stuff. It's not just like a critic isn't just somebody who
shits
hates
on
everything.
something.
I'd
say
critical of everything.
Criticism has to be useful. It has to advise like how it could be improved, and like that's why it's so important. I think is because it's like the difference is like if you look at something like say a movie, and you're like, this sucks. That's a useless comment. It doesn't do anything for anybody. If you're like, this sucks and here's why and how it could be improved and where it went wrong and where it has potential, that's invaluable.
Or this is maybe, or like, I feel that like only very well-informed, knowledgeable people can be like, this sucks. and this is how it could be improved, and actually have something useful to add to that discussion. That's another reason I don't try to talk about music that I don't like, except in sort of broad terms that anybody can get, because I'm not a musician. But
there's-
like stuff like this is a thing. It exists. Here are some things that are good about it. Here are some things that I personally don't like about it. But if this is what you're looking for, this is maybe isn't the perfect thing for you, but it's, or for me, but you might really like this. Like, I think that's super valuable for people who want to ingest media, and for the people who are making it. Be like, okay, this is the kind of person that's enjoying this. This is the things I liked about my album. Maybe I could focus on, this is good. This is not so good. Maybe that's something to focus on, right?
Yep.
Whether or not it's an art form, I think, like most things, you could make an argument for it.
I think it's absolutely an art form.
I think there is artistic criticism. I mean, it starts getting into what's art, which can be a little
Exactly.
bit.
That's
Which
what
is
I'm
like,
saying.
oh,
yeah.
man,
It can be
is
a
that
little bit tricky, but
anything you can get away with.
there certainly can be, there's works of criticism that can be put up there with any kind of writing at all.
Yeah, and
right?
I'd like to point out that there's a lot of people who think they can do critiques of movies and books and television and art. Like, everybody loves to weigh in on popular culture, but good criticism is something very different. They're putting it in a socio-historic context for you. They're comparing it to other things that you may not have seen. They are pointing out themes that you may not have picked out in this because they understand the medium, right? I feel that excellent criticism is not just like, I didn't like this and this is why this movie wasn't that great. It's like, this is how it compares in this genre of movies, and the tropes and blah blah blah, right? Like,
I guess online there seems to be some confusion regarding criticism, because oftentimes it gets used to mean hate and not criticism. They're just like, oh, you're criticizing me. It's like, well,
the problem is it does mean both things.
Yeah.
Which is
so
where it gets tricky.
it's
but
one of those annoying limitations of language. so.
Ideally, what you want, what I look for in a critic is what you want is somebody who has basically the same opinions as you have, but are smarter or more knowledgeable about that
they're
particular
better
topic.
at explaining it.
So you can be like, this movie was good or this movie was bad, and you can be like, I agree with that, but then they tell you why. It's like, oh, that's why I didn't like this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Simon says, my question is, kittens are cute. Please kiss a kitten for me. Thank you.
We'll do when we get home.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll apply many unwanted kisses to cats.
I answer, yes, no.
Paul has middling to mild cat allergies.
Yes.
Yeah. Daniel asks, what are your Hogwarts houses?
I'd like to think I'm Slytherin, but I generally get sorted into Ravenclaw whenever I do the quizzes online.
I actually had
That
no
seems
idea.
about right.
Gryffindor.
Okay.
Probably Hufflepuff.
You?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't finish reading all the books, but I just
Well, I mean,
get the sensation that
I love.
that would be-
I know that.
Gryffindors
they're the
are
kind of like goofy joke.
No, they are not.
No, they're-
Hufflepuffs are like the people in
Hufflepuff-
Hufflepuff are the people you'd actually want to be friends with, because they are like good, solid, loyal, dependable, nice, like
that's
no
the-
ulterior
Do those
motive people.
attributes describe me?
See, that's
Kathleen?
the thing that Ash
Yeah.
loves talking about, is like Slytherin is ambition and Ravenclaw is capable and Gryffindor is intelligent and Hufflepuff
No, that's not how it
or
goes.
whatever it is, and Hufflepuff are loyal.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're
okay.
like- they're
to
like
give you
a
a
lap
breakdown
dog.
on our group of friends. All right, so Cam would be a Slytherin, right? Because he is ambitious and
100%.
malicious.
Yeah.
All right, he can't
he
like
isn't.
ambitious and malicious.
That is kind of like
I mean, the
I've
the problem is that everybody in Slytherin is evil.
not necessarily.
Yeah.
Well, they're
No, Snape was in
they're
Slytherin. He wasn't evil. Spoilers, by the way.
Wow.
Yes, he is.
No, he was not.
In
He's
the
a-
context of the book, he is.
He is not. Have you read all the books?
Yes, I know how
He
how
has
it
a
ends
major
up.
face turn.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
still
but
evil.
He
He's
is
still
not.
evil.
He is not. He has a broken heart. Okay?
Yeah, but that's the only reason. The only reason he does the
Shut
good
up.
things. Okay.
All right. Okay, so then Gryffindor is definitely like a Graham, like a bold leader, inspires everybody around him, very sort of
Sure.
charismatic. Ravenclaw is probably me and the rest of my trivia team, like kind of bookish and like likes to do research and sort of introspective, like that kind of thing. And Hufflepuff, good examples of that would be our friend Serge, who's
Oh
really
my
nice.
god, he's like 100%.
100%. Like, has lots of other good traits, but just like the nicest.
I've never seen that guy not smile. It's
I
kind of
know.
interesting.
So yeah, so those are your
He's,
loading ready run.
he's
house
thinking about
breakdowns.
killing you while he
Is he a
smiles.
pod person?
No.
This is an excellent question. I'm glad someone asked this. Gray asks, how much of Alex's performance, how much of Alex on-stream performance is for entertainment? Graham and Kathleen lived with him. Is he really so animated at home?
Oh, is this going to be like the Carl Pilkington question? It's like, is he actually that stupid?
I feel like
I actually have no idea about Carl Pilkington, but
Me neither.
This
It freaks me
This
out.
is 100% Alex. Like
Yeah.
Alex does not play that up.
He's
Maybe a
quieter
little
when
bit.
nobody's
Maybe.
watching him. Like,
I don't know. I have seen Alex just like collapse into a puddle of like incontrollable laughter.
I get
when
I
no
get-
one else was watching.
I'll often be like doing something at the office here, or I'll be like working on something, and Alex will start like talking or like saying like catchphrases or something, and I'll be like, "Is he talking?
am I talking to you?
Is he talking to me? Or
Maybe.
Am I supposed to react to it, or what's going? Why?
Like-
why is he saying words now?
I
don't
like
get
to
it.
think that I can turn it off when it's appropriate, or rather when it's inappropriate, but
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
you're not necessarily turning it up for the stream. You just sometimes when you're not on stream turn it down.
yeah.
Yeah. Alex has strong reactions to things, shall we say?
Yeah. Actually, yeah, like the laughter is genuine. Like, that's not forced.
Question about like favorite filmmakers, but that's too broad of a question.
Well,
we
that's
typically don't do like
big,
favorites just because
big
it's
box.
big questions. I mean, I guess there's a question: who's your favorite member of Monty Python? There's only six
so
of
many
them.
choices.
Yeah.
Michael Palin.
I was about to say Liam Neeson. I was like,
Sweet.
sick.
Oh,
Yeah. His season was weird,
Does
but
Terry
I like
Gilliam
it.
count?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
right.
go with John Cleese.
Graham Chapman.
No love for Eric Idle.
I know it was tough. That was back and forth on those two.
It's yeah.
Do
you know why I like Michael Palin best?
Why is that?
Because he spent his post Python career dispensing facts.
His travel shows are really cool.
Really
mean-
informative.
Michael Palin is probably the one that I like identify the most with.
I'd probably feel the most comfortable hanging out with him.
Yeah,
I'd
but
be very on edge around Eric Idle.
Oh,
Graham Chapman.
I'd be
I
terrified
was-
to hang out with
he's-
Graham
Actually,
Chapman.
I would love to hang out
Because
with.
he's dead.
I'd love to hang out.
gonna say
Later-
corpse.
I should say later
Kyle
Graham
Nash.
Chapman once he wasn't an alcoholic anymore. But yes.
I'd actually love to hang out with Terry Jones because he's done. I mean, I was going to say because he's done a bunch of directing. Obviously, Terry Gilliam is the director. I would prefer to hang out with Terry Jones. I love watching Terry Gilliam's stuff, but I don't really want to talk to him about
He seems
directing.
intense.
Yeah.
I feel like you would end that conversation like wearing a funny hat or something like something. You would end that conversation somehow having been like in a film that he was doing.
Yeah. I feel like Terry Jones gets unfairly overlooked as a Python.
Apparently, he and John Cleese just would like butt heads all the time. Like he was super, he's super passionate about about like making the the jokes or making the show as good as it could be or as good as he thought it could be. When John Cleese was also, and so they would just like
But they
would
had different ideas.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
would just butt heads all the time.
Yeah, that's probably
And-
good.
And so that's why the last season of Monty Python is a little different because John Cleese was gone, and so it was Terry Jones sort of took over
Yeah.
because none of the other guys had the same kind of sort of focus or willingness to argue
Needed that
about
mutually
stuff.
assured destruction to keep
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
another in check.
To those of you who play Western RPGs,
Warpagas.
what type of character do you tend to play? I.e., I am always the Paragon of the Wastes in Fallout. Like good guy, bad guy.
knight.
I usually play the good guy at least on my first playthrough.
Yeah.
I'm generally just doing the nice, correct things
Yeah, I usually play,
at the same time stealing from everyone in sight.
yeah. I mean, obviously
That's
you do
how
that.
you do that.
You're the chaotic good.
Yeah, I
character.
definitely play as when given the choice, I will usually choose the good guy.
It's like sorry, 1 second. It's like Graham is like the NPCs are watching your character ride off into the sunset and they're like, boy, Paul, he really helped us out. Pa, where's your wallet?
Yeah. Yep.
Just like, well, you sure saved us from the invaders
And it's
at the
like,
cost of all of our livestock.
I gave him that sword that had been passed down from our family from generation to generation, and he sold it for 5 gold. It's like, I
he had a better sword.
Yeah. But I find
There
that,
might be a video on that.
and I
honestly.
find in a lot of video games, even if they sort of give lip service to the idea, of sort of the moral choices and stuff,
Yeah.
a lot of the time being like following an evil path doesn't actually like make sense in the context
No,
of
it's
the
just like you have to
game.
be like irrationally cruel.
And also you end up being this like weird guy who just like randomly kills people, but then also saves villages for no particular reason.
So you're
like,
just like
you,
a
or
head
like,
case.
yeah, you just are this weird like homicidal.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
randomly
RPGs are.
weird
It's weird
dude.
because they're in some ways limited by the technology. It's like maybe one day we'll have like a moral choice system where your choices actually matter, and you don't have to just basically go to the binary of like Gandhi or Satan,
Yeah.
which is basically how all those games, roll out. It's just like, yeah, we've got a moral choice system. It's complicated, but you can be good or bad.
Kevin asks, Alex, are there any games you want to inflict on Graham in revenge for what he's made you play?
Oh shit! I would have to go into the backlog for that one.
Mr. Fiend says, I hate Graham, which is fair.
Wow, harsh.
It's not really
What
a
prompted
question.
that?
I don't know.
It's cold as ice.
No, I've seen Mr. Fiend in the chat. I'm pretty sure that was a joke.
I,
This is interesting, actually. This is an interesting question, I think, especially for Alex, because
Huh?
you have opinions about games.
Uh-oh.
Is it better to play a perfect but generic game or a unique game with serious flaws?
Oh, that's tough. I actually think there's value in both, just like very different value, because like,
Like, for example, look at the new Wolfenstein.
yeah,
There's nothing new in that game, but it's good. It's done really well. It's
it
just
seemed
really good at that, right? And that's great, right? Like, I love it. People are really behind it. It's it's a good that.
Sometimes all you want is a good version of that.
Well,
Yeah.
I kind of feel the same way about Alice Madness Returns. Like, it's all gameplay that you have experienced before, but it's carried off very well, and the art direction is stunning.
Well, and if you take gameplay that has sort of been figured out,
Exactly.
then
It's just like,
then you can work on the other parts.
well, that's the thing. It's like it's a solved problem. They're just doing it again. Like, they're not innovating anywhere in that game, but it's fun because
they're-
it's doing
well,
the
but
thing
they're-
we liked.
they're not innovating in the gameplay, but they're
No.
innovating in the the art style and stuff. Like they like there's no reason like you can do other stuff to innovate or to make your game interesting other than just
But yeah, on the other end of the equation, it's like I actually really like playing really screwed up games a lot of the time. Like, because you can see, you can learn a lot from something that's kind of busted and doesn't work, because you can see like the little bits of quality that like almost worked or like have promise here and there.
I always feel like those almost make me more sad though.
Yeah,
it's
just
like
you were so close.
You sort of see the game, like you sort of imagine the game that it could be,
yeah.
and then you're like, but like I
It's
can't.
like, I see what you were trying to do.
But it's like I can't recommend this game to anybody because it's actually not good.
That's the weird thing.
It
Is
could
like,
have been good. I want them to take this game and go back and give it to somebody who
Yeah.
actually knows how to make a game and take that
Well,
mechanic and make it cool.
It's like I have some weird like pseudo recommendations for a game where it's like, this game's bad, like it's not good, but it's just like there's some things there that are really interesting. It's like this is sort of how I feel about like Rule of Rose, because like that game is really interesting and atmospheric, and the gameplay is dog shit. It's like almost unplayable. It's just like really awful, but like the theme and atmosphere and just like the story and even a couple of the bits of the gameplay are like kind of neat, because you spend almost the whole game with this dog companion, and what you can do is you can take any key item, like the sort of survival horror MacGuffin, and get him to smell it, and he will path to a place that is related to that item.
Whoa.
So if you're
That's
like,
neat.
where does this go? You'll be like, here. And he's like, "Ruff," and goes and finds his way, and you follow him. It's
Sweet.
like, it's not flawless, but it's really kind of handy that survival horror thing where it's like, where the fuck do I go now in this giant map?
Sakurazaki finishes by saying, P.S. More Just Cause 2 on IDDQ Derp. Okay, we got to get last couple of questions because we got to get rolling for a shoot we're going to do tonight.
Yep.
Daniel says, it feels like most of your stream doesn't get uploaded to YouTube. Us in the UK sometimes have to sleep. When can we view? All our streams do get uploaded, just very slowly, for which we apologize. But we'll try to catch back up again. And
in the meantime, you can watch them on the Twitch.
It's not
viewer.
as bad.
It's not great, but
it's not great. But it's also like you just turn it on, you can watch it.
And there was actually, I thought there was a bunch more questions, but it turns out a bunch of people talking about the funny beer names we came up with last night. So the last question is King Cool saying, "I'm probably too late." You almost were. Almost.
If it wasn't for all the people talking about beer.
Yeah, I'm probably too late. But hey, what was your first cell phone?
Oh, jeez.
I don't know, some flip thing.
Mine was the
some...
Sony Z135, I think it was. The one I got from Fido.
Yeah.
I think I got a Fido piece of crap. It was some sort of Sony garbage.
I don't even think mine was a Sony. The cell phone I had before, I had an iPhone, though. I remember that one. Like the one I had before was like one of those merely functional things that made calls and sent texts annoyingly because it had T9.
God, I can still hear it. I can still hear its ringtone. It haunts me.
I have completely forgotten it. But the cell phone I had that I got rid of fairly quickly to get an iPhone, I was kind of wistful about it because it was actually fantastic. It was like a Sony sliding thing.
I love that one.
It was like you could get black and blue or white and orange.
Yeah.
And it was really nice.
I had that phone.
I really liked that phone. And then I got rid of it to get an iPhone. But I was like, it was a good phone.
Really good phone.
I came to cell phones actually relatively late. Like the phone I had before the iPhone was my first phone, my first cell phone. It was just like a Motorola flip phone. But it was actually the reason why I was like, at some point I was just like, I should probably get a cell phone. Also, for a while, my my building, like something to do with like the cinder block construction of my building where I lived and where the cell towers and stuff were, like there just wasn't signal inside my building, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But at some point I was like, I should probably get a cell phone. And like that week, Rogers phoned up and was just like, doing one of their random like,
hey, we'd like to offer you if you switch your landline to a cell phone.
We'd offer you, and I'm like, sure, yeah, I'll do that. And they're like,
oh, really?
One sec. They're always like thrown off when you're actually like, yes.
We weren't ready for this. Oh God.
Yeah. It's like
what do we do?
Piling through
You're
papers.
the first person who hasn't hung up on me tonight.
Yeah. And so that's how I got my cell phone by doing. But unfortunately, I because the number portability had just come in at that point, I transferred my landline over to my cell phone, which means that I still get far more telemarketing calls than most people do on their cell
you get them
phones.
all the time, probably once a day.
Because my landline was, in some telemarketing database.
Have you added it to the do not call list?
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah. I here's some sick inside texts. I've had a variety of terrible jobs, and one of them was telemarketing. Because you know what? You got to pay the bills, and I came from a very impoverished town, Prince George. Like a retail job, that was a get. All right? So anyhow.
The trick with Prince George, it's impoverished, but it's hard to get to, so it's good for telemarketing. Because people can't like drive to you and
there was a lot of telemarketing that worked.
They can't drive to you and punch
That's actually the thing. Apparently, most of the telemarketing in America is actually done by Canadians, partially because it's hard for them to actually like get in their car and drive over to your house and try to kill you.
I tell you what, here's how they do those. This is why the do not call lists don't matter. They have the area code and they have the extension. Like the first three numbers, like 250589, and then it's just 0001, 0002. You're just literally working through a list. So that's why those do not call lists don't matter.
Wow.
Well, so I mean, there also must be a list of like we know that these numbers are good, like the list that I'm on apparently. That
the money list,
or not that they. It's not
actually,
even.
It's actually just you.
It's not that they're good.
They just phone you.
Yeah.
It's just that they exist. Oh, you got lots of fax lines and disconnected numbers, but honestly, it's more work to compile those lists.
Oh, it's 5 p.m. Time to call Paul.
Yeah.
No, but it's more work to compile those lists than it is just to stick somebody in front of a list for minimum wage.
It's
right. It takes too many hours.
Yeah, I like the new strategy they use is when the first thing out of the mouth of the person on the other end is, "This is not a sales call." It's probably a sales
Probably a
call.
sales call. This has not been a sales podcast, but we thank you for listening.
You
All
buy
the
our
same.
stuff. Yeah, you could buy stuff. if
You
want.
could if you want. Actually, go to the store. Check it out.
You've been randomly selected.
Yes, you listening to this podcast have been randomly selected to use some of your own money to go and purchase
If you
some of
go
our
in the
t-shirts.
next 20
All
minutes.
right. Bye, everybody.
Buy stuff. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the LRRcast. We'll talk to you next time.